Hello, Kansas and Western fans. It's time for episode number 20 of the construction of the Kansas and Western HO scale railroad. We're going to do a full overview of the layout and then speak about what the plan was for those last 2 weeks, which was to build the UP side of the Wichita yard. And we'll check on that here in a second. Starting over here at the Royal Gorge route, I've worked some more on this siding that will run almost the length of the route, at least along this wall. I have yet to put some more of these risers on the other side for where this turnout is there, so I can make it match the same elevation as the main line there. So just have that to do there. And that will finish the track work for this area here. Still have to put the backdrop in, but once those two things are done and I've got the track weathered, then I can actually start working on some scenery in some part of the layout. So kind of interested in that. I do need to add a tunnel portal on that end so I can simulate Tennessee Pass there on that side to hide the entry into the helix. And moving around, entering into the west end of Canon City. You can see the Royal Gorge route train there. I did get that siding installed and wired, so that's kind of nice. So I could run excursion routes or excursion trains now from this siding, because that's where the base is the train station in Kansas City. Runs excursion trains in and out of there. Nothing for the passengers to see yet, though, as you can see, so probably won't do an ops video of that for a while. Would like to have them have something to see. Otherwise, nothing else done in this area, just because I lack the track to finish that. And moving around. Still busily weathering cars to a minimum at least, and still haven't gotten that booster installed. I keep saying I'm going to do it, but I just haven't done it yet. We're here to Pueblo. This has been like the least worked on part of the layout. Not for any particular reason. I have at least most of the kits that I need to build the structures. I just haven't worked on that part yet. And the track is an issue too. I'm going to need some more turnouts before I can work on the track here. And down to La Junta Yard. I did finally make a decision on this highway bridge down here at this end. So I do have the track laid out, and I can actually get that installed and wired, and then this end of the yard will be done at least. I finally figured out that I will have to have the highway bridge at an angle, but it will allow me to put one more section here, so it'll come right to the edge of the layout, and then there'll be plenty of room here for the loading ramp for vehicles to realistically climb on there and be loaded onto rail cars. So that decision's been made, just have to do the work to complete it. And moving around to Lamar, nothing new down here. And around to Holly, nothing new here either. And then up the helix to the Holcomb Power Plant area. I did make a good decision here finally. Well, we'll see if it's good, but it's an odd decision anyway. Wasn't sure how I was going to lay this out. It wasn't until I finally opened up the contents of the kit, the big coal distribution kit here, to kind of understand how it works, how it's laid out, and then looked at the measurements on the front of the box. And so there's a particular way it needs to be laid out, and I figured that out. So I am going to have the power plant kit added, and I'm going to have it suspended right in this area over the helix track as it comes up. This track is all going to be hidden here anyway until it reaches the main part of the layout here, right in this area next to the turnout. So hiding it's not going to be an issue. I just have to build the bench work above it to support that power plant. And then the conveyor system will be like a big T, more or less, where the loading part or unloading part for the coal will be right here in this area. And then it'll be conveyed over against the wall where there'll be coal piles, which will also help to hide the track coming out of the helix over there. And then there'll be a transition here between the Garden City area and the Holcomb Power Plant area with a slight rise, I think, just to kind of help clear the helix track as it comes up. And then probably some trees, like a wooded area, just to kind of help separate the scenes. But then this will be just one massive scene in this area. that will look something similar to this that I've indicated earlier. Big coal piles, transfer house there, just to kind of show how that works with trains coming in with coal loads and dumping those loads. And then the power plant can use the coal as needed at whatever rate it needs to burn per hour or whatever. So that'll fill this whole scene, which ought to look kind of neat. And then I also made some decisions on the track plan for Garden City. It does look similar to Holly below, but with this short area, there's not a whole lot of options. And then I wasn't sure if I wanted to put track up close to the backdrop or not. I decided that it was much easier just to keep it all close together and probably more realistic than have the track, illogically just scoot over, because industries are built close to the tracks if they can be to save money for the railroad. So that means I'll be able to fill this whole area out with these two industries. So instead of just building some background tanks like that right there, I'm going to add some more structures, maybe finally have some vehicles on the layout to serve industries. So that was kind of nice to make that decision. Moving around to the Charleston elevator, I finished all the trackage here. When I did finish this siding here, and to backtrack a little bit, the Holcomb power plant is going to be fed by unit coal trains that I believe they come out of Utah, or at least they did at one point. And so that's just going to pull off of that turnout onto this siding and then back the cars into the Holcomb power plant. And to have enough room for that, I had to pull the siding around where it terminates here on the Charleston elevator side. But then the Charleston elevator has its own sidings, and these are all installed and wired, work really well. So I could start to develop this scene a little bit further. Got a few more structure kits to buy and build, and obviously flesh this one out quite a bit. But otherwise, track-wise, this scene is done. And moving around here to the Wichita Industrial Yard, I did install all the rest of this track and have hit wired for the lumber distributor. So now it's just a matter of getting that track weathered to the point where I can cover it up with these concrete / plastic pieces as it would be. And then I can put the fascia in and then finish out the styrene right to the edge of the fascia to kind of simulate one big concrete pad where forklifts would unload all this lumber. So that scene can be fleshed out. And then I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last video or not. I do have the track plan figured out for the Wichita Industrial Park. Have all the turnouts and track required. I just have to do the work on that. And industry allowance or structure allowance isn't really a point here because the track can only do so much here. I'm going to keep it all close together within regular tolerances, so I can just get the track laid and then build these industries around it. Now moving up to the BNSF side of the Wichita yard. Nothing new here because the track is all pretty well laid. The only reason I don't have the engine service tracks laid yet is I still haven't decided exactly how I want to deal with these industry or engine service kits. I just kind of have pieces of it laid out there. Not sure if I want to have the track portion underneath the track. I talked to a guy I know that used to work at the UP side of the yard, and as far as he knew, there were just like spill catch pads or something laid on top of the ties. There wasn't any kind of a catch basin system underneath, and that's the way these are designed. I've seen those catch pads on other layouts and need to figure out where to get those because it'd be easier just to lay the track and then lay those pads on top than doing this under part, because on the bottom, the way this kit comes, I don't know if you can see, these little ridges, those are meant to hold individual rails instead of the ties. So I'd have to basically clean all the ties off a piece of track and put it down. And I'm just not sure if I want to do that. I'm not sure how well it's going to hold. I have no experience building this type of kit, so haven't made the decision on that, and that's why this track isn't done here yet. And the same goes for all the other engine service facilities down here in La Junta is the same way. Just haven't made a decision on that part yet. Anyway, moving down to the end of the Wichita yard. And then we'll wrap around to the UP side. And looking down here from the end, you can see the UP yard is done. Again, minus the car shops there and the engine service tracks, but All this track has been laid, has not been soldered and wired yet, so I still have that to do. But very happy with the design. It's a little bit more unorthodox, which in my mind makes it a little more interesting. It'll make for more interesting switching opportunities for whoever's operating the yard. But again, had to go with a couple different switch leads to make sure that the body tracks weren't all too short, especially on this end. And then I've got a maintenance away service track there. I've got a rip track here in the foreground for locomotive work, and then a double track car shop, and then the engine service tracks will be back there. And then you can see where those locomotives are parked. That's the UP arrival departure track as it comes off of the BNSF main line. And then just like the BNS track, the trains will be pulled in, the locomotives will come off on this boulevard track down here into the engine service facility. And then this part is double-ended. That far track up against those silos is the main line as it comes out of the arrival departure track. And this is the main line that runs around down through Towanda here. And then I've got a track just set out for the trip to El Dorado, where you've got the Mears fertilizer plant, which I've started on that kit. And then Barton Solvents and BG Products. I think I might serve both companies, even though they're going to be similar with, you can see their tank car service. But since they are right next together, I think I can do some different things. Maybe do one of those ponds there, this different type of look. And then I've got track laid out. The track that goes straight off there, that's the main line. That's going to be able to access the Union Tank Car Company along that far wall. It's just going to go right in there behind the refinery to where it kind of disappears. And then the foreground here, it's going to be a small yard just for doing some runaround action, both to serve these two industries and the refinery itself. And then this will be the primary loading rack track here. There'll be another track that splits off to go into the refinery itself, just to provide parts and machinery and stuff for the refinery itself. And then another track that'll go off for the pet coke piles there. So anyway, that's what I've got done for this update. I really appreciated the vote on the UP yard, because now that the whole thing is done, it just looks really cool. I mean, if you're a railroad lover and you like rail yards, how can you not like how this all looks? Anyway, moving on to the poll for these next 2 weeks. Curious what you guys all come up with on this next one. Are we going to work on the main line? Are we going to do some more structures? Finish this area down in La Junta? I mean, there's all kinds of options. So very curious to see what everybody comes up with. I like these randomized votes. Sometimes I think I know what it's going to be, but sometimes it turns out something else, and I work on that instead, and it's just fine because I really like the guidance from the fans. I like working with you guys to figure out what interests you and see come to fruition. So put your vote in the comments below. Let me know what you'd like to see worked on, and we'll see what we can get done. And then I'll tally the votes this weekend, post the results on Monday with the short video, and we'll see what I can do. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a good day.